Many of us have dreams. They're either dreams that can impact us personally or dreams that can affect a lot of people. You might recall Martin Luther King when you hear the phrase, "I have a dream." It was a very popular speech and is still very highly recognized nowadays. His speech was really strong, and that's why it made that effect. I want to mention that A&Q Journal says King's "I Have a Dream" speech is now recognized as one of the most important speeches in the 20th century. Indeed, his speech is not forgotten and remains really alive in many American lives nowadays. I want to mention some techniques that help this speech be so strong. First of all, Martin Luther King knew his audience. It is really important to know your audience in order to make an effect. He himself, as an African American, was suffering what many of the people in the audience were suffering, which was discrimination and the segregation due to racial backgrounds. So he was feeling a connection with them. He himself was going through the emotions that they were going through inside. So that just made him have that ability to have a connection and be able to also transmit the hope that he transmitted to many of them. King's dream was not personal. It was a dream that affected a lot of people. And that dream was to have complete freedom. In order for Martin Luther King's speech to have success, first of all, he prepared himself by having notes, and he was reading them, but he still maintained eye contact with his audience, which is really important when giving a speech. He organized it gradually to lead to the climax, which was the conclusion. That's what I believe. And he was able to memorize the last part of his speech. So that just adds up to the preparation that he had. He also demonstrated passion for the topic that he had. He was strongly interested in what he was talking about. Martin Luther King also used a variety of techniques to gain the public's attention. He used imagery, such as metaphors and visual words. This helped the audience get an image in their minds to better understand the message. According to The Art of Public Speaking by Stephen E. Lucas, using metaphors helps make abstract ideas concrete. Therefore, it adds clarity to his speech. He also used sacred texts and hymns. This way, he could be related to his audience as well, because they would read this text and they also sang the songs that he mentioned in his speech. He also used compare and contrast. He mentioned what they were living in the present and what it could be if they had freedom. And that is also something that helped in his speech. He used rhythm and repetition. He repeated many phrases to be able to get the clear message to them and for them to be able to grasp it better. He also used pauses for his end of thought units. Lucas mentions in his book that using pauses in his speech lends a dramatic impact in the statement, and I believe that's what happened in his speech. King's speech also made an emotional impact. He clearly demonstrated his emotions through his tone of voice, which was just strong, it was powerful, and it had conviction and passion through it too. And he was able to transmit that to his audience. You could hear the audience in the background shouting and clapping. They were really enjoying what he was saying, and they agreed with what he was saying as well. His speech has the same effects today, I believe. Many people still listen to it and are somehow can use it as well, not only for racial equality, but to be able to dream big, and that no dream is impossible. Freedom seemed impossible in that time, but it was able to become a reality, and now we're able to enjoy that in the United States, not having segregation. It also motivated me in the sense of the way that I want to give my speech. I want to be able to transmit the same passion and conviction to my audience and have that connection with them, and to be able to use metaphors to have such a creative speech like he did. This is a few of the things that I was able to learn from his speech, and I hope it is very helpful to you, and I hope that I was able to have somewhat of a connection with you guys. Thank you so much for listening.